Florida State was by far the most disappointing team in all of college football in the 2024 season. 1 year removed from winning the ACC and going undefeated, the Seminoles were genuinely awful. They were a team that lost a lot of talent in the 2024 draft and had so many people that they had to replace, and it was just too much to overcome. However, that doesn't mean that the Seminoles were void of talent, as they have two top 100 prospects in this class that are pretty intriguing players. Defensive tackle Joshuafarmer is a player who really caught my attention and has been generating quite a bit of buzz entering the 2025 draft. In an absolutely stacked group of defensive tackles, how high could Farmer hear his name called in the 2025 draft? That is what we will be discussing in today's video. But hey guys, if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon page, where for $5 a month, you guys will get exclusive access to my in-depth draft guide and big board, with over 500 scouting reports and evaluations. There, you'll be able to find all the player measurements, stats, and my written evaluations for every prospect I've studied in this class. It's one of the best resources on the market, and I highly recommend checking it out if you enjoy my NFL draft content. Leave a comment below and let me know which prospects you guys want to see in a future episode, and without further ado, let's take a closer look at Joshuafarmer. Farmer has been with Florida State for the past 4 years and has seen some solid overall production. In 2023, when Florida State went on their run, Farmer produced 20 pressures, 7 sacks, and 15 run stops on the season. A lot of questions were asked how much of that came from playing around other really talented players, and he proved those doubters, including myself, wrong. He had 26 total pressures, 6 sacks, and 18 run stops in the 2024 season, and he was a bright spot for a very bad Florida State team, and he had a dominant week down in Mobile at the Senior Bowl, and he is generating some serious buzz, and if he pans out, could be a potential problem in the league. The first thing that really sticks out when you're watching Farmer is his imposing size on the defensive line. He weighed in at the Senior Bowl at 6'2", 314 pounds, but the area I get most excited about is his length. Farmer has 34.25-inch arms, which were the longest of any of the defensive tackles down in Mobile. He's got alien-like size and length, and I think that will get him taken pretty early simply because the traits are incredibly intriguing. As a pass rusher, Farmer brings some really serious juice. Each of the last 2 years, Farmer has been productive at getting into the backfield and making plays. He's a remarkable athlete. He's quick off the line of scrimmage, he has fluid hips, great change of direction for the position, and he even showcases elite bend for the position as well. He flashes a good cross chop, but he knows how to convert speed to power, and showed a really strong bull rush in there as well. He's still raw as a pass rusher, there's no doubt about that. He only had a 9.4% win rate this past year, but you can certainly see the juice, the active hands that he plays with, and that gets you excited about his future if he can tone out a couple of things. Farmer is a developmental player. He plays hard on every snap and is a guy who is going to give it 110%. You never see him take plays off, and I love just how aggressive and nasty he is with his hands. He brings some serious pop with his hands, and he showcases the ability to win with both speed and power. He's a high motor player, and his upside is through the roof. With that said though, he does have some concerns as a prospect. As a run defender, there are a few areas that I think Farmer struggles with. He is often driven off the ball as a run defender. On counter runs, he oftentimes seemed to get lost, and he struggled to really get off of blocks consistently. That's the area of his game that was most alarming to me. He's not an amazing block shedder as a run defender, and his play strength is incredibly inconsistent. He also has struggled to get off double teams in the past, which is another concern for him. He has the tendency to play high, and it does affect his timing as a run defender, and he does get driven off the ball more than you'd like to see. He has to get stronger to be able to hold the point of attack in the run game because it was a pretty glaring issue for him each of the last 2 seasons, and I am concerned about how impactful he's going to be early on in his career, particularly against the run. I also think tackling consistency has been up and down for him. His 2023 season was phenomenal, but this past year, he had a 15.2% missed tackle rate. It's not a massive issue for him, and it's not something I'm extremely worried about, but it once again shows some of the struggles he had when it came to defending the run and being consistent. He just struggled to wrap up consistently, and that's got to improve for him in the NFL. Coming into this video, I didn't really see that much hype with Joshua Farmer. Daniel Jeremiah has him in his top 50, and while I wouldn't say he's that high, I certainly see the upside that he has now as I was preparing for this video, particularly as a pass rusher. He's a fun player that if he can improve some of his mechanics, clean up some of his inconsistencies in the run game, he could be a legitimate problem in the NFL. I think he's going to get taken high simply because of his traits, and he's my number 11 defensive tackle in the draft class and my number 77 overall prospect. I love his upside, and if he gets into the right system, could be dominant in the NFL. In terms of a scheme fit, I think given his ability to rush the passer, he will make a really solid 3-tech in the NFL. I think he will likely be a more rotational guy on passing downs to start off his career, but with some development, can be a dual gap penetrator at the next level. I do think he is pretty versatile though and can play in both even or odd fronts because he is so nimble and so athletic that I think he could be put pretty much anywhere along the defensive line and succeed early in his career. Admittedly, coming up with a comparison for Joshua Farmer was incredibly difficult, but I reached out to a friend of mine, Dom C on Twitter, who said that when you factor in his size and athleticism, as well as his ridiculous length, a poor man's Christian Wilkins would be the comparison, and I don't hate this. Both of them are versatile defenders who have exceptional size and length for the position with incredible athleticism off the line of scrimmage. They are dominant pass rushers that can make some splash plays in the run game. Obviously, Farmer needs more development, but I don't hate this comparison from Dom at all, and I see a lot of similarities in the two's game. Joshua Farmer is a freak athlete. He has some unbelievable traits and athleticism that make him a sought-after commodity in the league. And I think he's going to be a really nice piece if he develops properly. You have to know that if you're drafting Farmer early, he's probably not going to be that impact starter immediately in the league. But if you give him the proper development, I think he could be a star. Ultimately, I believe that Joshua Farmer will be a top 75 pick in the 2025 NFL Draft.